everyone. We'll give it a few moments here. Hopefully our music's not too loud. We're having a lot of fun with the Mardi Gras theme.
Clearly. You guys came at the right time. We brewed this beer at the right time. It just so happened to be Mardi Gras, and we were like, "Hey, why not? We can't be there in New Orleans, so we might as well get in the spirit." So we're gonna be doing some Mardi Gras themed events, and we got some Mardi Gras themed beers, some Mardi Gras themed decor. We're in a Mardi Gras kind of spirit. So let's get going.
This is true. Okay.
Thanks for joining. Here we are. We're doing our Hazy IPA. I don't know if anyone else is going to join, but we could always wait another minute or two. But
yeah, I just want to point this
let
over
us
to
know if
our
you can hear. Make sure we can hear.
New Orleans
Yeah.
playlist off the YouTube. It's pretty fun, actually.
Laissez le bon temps rouler. That'll be the theme of the night. Let the good times roll, right?
Okay.
All right. Well, hopefully some of you guys were able to find at least one of these beers to join along with us. I think this is a kind of interesting time in the craft beer world because Hazy IPAs have been for the last few years and still are all the rage, for better or for worse. And so, of course, it's kind of crazy. It's taken us this long to join into the crowd, but we did brew our first, supposed to be Hazy IPA. We'll talk about where we thought we ended up in the style guidelines later, but
Sure.
We thought it was time for us to get on board, and we had a lot of fun brewing this beer. It was by far the hoppiest beer we've ever brewed, and definitely smelled like the hoppiest beer we've ever brewed.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. A little different technique, and again, we can talk about that a little bit more when we get to our beer. But yeah, well, I mean, today we had, if you watch the Instagram, we had a few other hazies we chose. So I don't know if you haven't tried the Stone Tangerine Express. First time we had that was when we were living in California, right when it came out. I think I actually had it before they even bottled or canned it at the Stone Brewery in San Diego the very first time. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
Very good beer. And then Voodoo Ranger, I think everyone's pretty familiar with the Voodoo Ranger series. They like to do a lot of interesting things with their hazes, but New Belgium's always kind of a topic of debate for people.
But they've been making some great IPAs and hazies for a couple years now, and the Voodoo Ranger line has been pumping out some awesome IPAs. So we've been drinking Voodoo Rangers for a while.
I mean, we've been a big fan of New Belgium for a while.
Oh, sure,
Again, a lot of people,
most people know Fat Tire, so Fat Tire is New Belgium. So
a lot of people don't like New Belgium though because they're like that. They're that weird mid-tier brewery that's like they grew really, really fast and went really big, but then kind of sold to their company. And there's a lot of debate about them. I like them. I don't really care. So
it's happening a lot in the industry, and this isn't the video for that, but.
Yeah.
Anyways, Voodoo Ranger is awesome.
Yeah.
And then
beer.
Hyperlocal Beer Brewery, BIER.
Yes.
They are, we'll touch on them here. They're literally right down the street from where we live here in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
They've been around for over 10 years now. They make awesome beers. They've won over 100 awards. So we like to go there and hang out. They have some fun events often, and they make some good beer. So
real nice people, nice staff, everything. So we enjoy going there.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna start with. We were gonna do the highest.
Yeah. No, we haven't actually done an IPA, so I just wanted to touch on that briefly, just for anyone out there that doesn't really know what some of the origins are. Basically, the India Pale Lagers were popular starting in the late 18th, early 19th century over in England, over in the United Kingdom. They basically became popular because the hops over there they found. I mean, hops have been around for thousands of years and used in different beverages, but they started flavoring some of the beers with hops and realized that they had antibacterial, antimicrobial qualities, and so they added to the beer's stability, and so the beers could be shipped all over the world throughout the British Empire. So that's something that's really fun to tell people. You know, I worked at a brewery for a bunch of years, and people were always really fascinated by that story. But yeah, the acids in the hop cones actually provides antimicrobial, antibacterial qualities, so that when you make a beer and you only want your yeast that you want in the beer, it helps fend off a lot of those other critters that are trying to get in there. So they used to ship it all over the world, literally ship on ships, and it would be on ships for months at a time. And so they wanted it to stay stable and not get sour or go bad. So they put a lot of hops in them. So that's why it's called an India Pale. Pale is because of the color. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because a lot of people don't know just like the basic background on IPAs, and obviously they made their way over to the U.S. pretty soon after that, 1800 sometime, and they've been just growing mostly ever since. Obviously, the last 20 years has been a boom of IPAs. I don't know. I could go on for hours about IPAs.
Well,
but
that was the height of the craft beer boom, early 2000s.
Sure.
I mean, like places like I feel like Stone, their Arrogant Bastard is probably one of the first IPAs. Or no, the Arrogant, or just the Stone IPA.
Well, this
just
one.
the regular Stone IPA.
Stone IPA.
I mean, back in the early 2000s, I mean, it was all about like who can make their beer bigger and badder, and just a huge hot bomb. I think over the years the market's kind of leveled out a little bit. There's a lot of people that do really still like the really, really hoppy, juicy, hazy stuff, but I think right now the trend's more on those lagers. So it all kind of balances out eventually, but Stone was like one of the first IPAs I ever started drinking. I think probably both of us, and Stone's always been a real like kick in the butt kind of beer. Delicious, but definitely aggressive. Yeah,
they made some of the biggest, boldest IPAs, back in the day. As we'll talk about, we lived out in the LA area, so we got to visit their facility, and they've expanded exponentially just in the last 7 years, I think, because they now brew on both coasts. But they make a lot of great beer, big, bold beer, and great brewery for sure. So, I don't know. Let's get started.
I think we're going to do the Tangerine Express first, actually.
Yeah.
I guess we'll actually use these. Display cans.
So I guess, anyways, hazy IPAs really kind of came about 15 years ago or so, roughly, before we were drinking beer, or at least supposed to be drinking beer. All right, before we were drinking beer.
Because 2005 I wasn't.
Yeah, we weren't some of those youngsters getting in trouble there, racing hot rods. But the hazies came around like 15 years ago. Basically, it was a gentleman named John Kimmick out west in Vermont that kind of came up with the idea, or at least he's attributed with the idea. They tend to be more hazy, obviously, as the name implies. They have more proteins, more hop elements in the solution, so there's more bits and pieces. You don't want to clarify it. You want to keep it nice and juicy. They often add adjuncts, so like flaked malts like oats and wheat and barley, which will bring more protein into the beer, and so it's more thick and creamy. And so that's kind of the basic of the hazy IPA, where that came about. And so this beer
Yeah.
obviously is.
This one's not really a
It's
hazy,
not
I don't
too
think.
hazy.
They don't really call... Oh, I guess I do say hazy
They do
IPA.
call it hazy, but
It's not super hazy, but a lot of times I think with... the IPAs too, these ones I kind of purposely left out of the fridge for a bit because I feel like you get a lot more of the aroma and the flavor when it's warmed up a little bit. Also, like, if there's ever, like, chill haze or anything, this is, like, I would say, I don't know. It's not quite room temp, but it's close. It's kind of a good for me, temperature to drink these kinds of beers.
Yeah,
So.
you get more aroma when it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah, but yeah, you can see this is pretty clear.
It's a pretty clear beer, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know if I ever noticed that before.
I guess when you're mass producing beers like that, you can you have such good quality control. Sometimes it's hard to keep some of the haze.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting topic as well. Like, when you're shipping beer all over the world, they ship beer to like 40 different countries. So
Yeah.
quality control is a big component, and it can be hard to, leave some of those processes unknown, or, you really just got to cross all your T's and dot all your I's, and that can hurt some of the appearance of your beer. It doesn't really hurt the taste. It's awesome taste, but
I think too there's also an argument that IPAs are not quite as shelf stable as a lot of other beers. So,
well, they're shelf stable, but they that's the interesting thing about IPAs is like they're shelf stable because they don't necessarily they're not going to get contaminated, but
yeah,
some of the hop additions that you do where you want a lot of the aroma and character, that will start to fall out of the beer.
I guess that makes more sense. Yeah.
So it's a give and take with the hops.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you get tangerine.
Yeah.
I mean, you get just the tangerine, pineapple.
There's definitely some pineapple.
Really good.
They do use they use tangerine puree, pineapple puree, but they use the whole fruit, at least of the tangerine, and you can definitely taste that.
Yeah, it's definitely got that like orange rind. Just like you just like bit into a tangerine with the skin on.
It's smooth.
It's really good.
It's not overly powerful, even though technically this is.
This one's at 57.
Technically 57 IBUs. The perceived bitterness to me is not super high.
This is not. I don't think this is bitter at all. But that's always been between us. I think I've always perceived bitterness a little less than you do. I've always been drink a lot more hoppy and bitter things than you, and it doesn't really seem to bother me as much. But
yeah, I'm a little more sensitive.
We definitely have way different palates.
Yeah, but no, it is juicy.
Yeah.
There's good fruit there.
I could definitely.
There's definitely some of that pith and some of that rind, some of that bitterness from like an orange peel. But it finishes clean. It's not overpowering by any means.
6.7%. I think that it feels like 6%. I mean, it's good.
And like we said, Stone. If you have a chance, if you enjoy craft brewing, or you just want to have like a really cool evening out, and you happen to be in San Diego County,
Escondido.
Escondido.
That was like the coolest brewery.
Yeah.
I still think to this day one of the coolest breweries I've been to. It was like an adult fairy garden. There was beautiful green space, and I feel like there was a waterfall and palm trees.
It was set in the hillside,
exaggerating a little bit on the waterfall.
The hills of San Diego County.
It was super cool. I loved it.
It's really pretty out there. So if you're in that area and you like they make lighter beers too, but they make great beer.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out if you're in the area. It's really pretty out there.
Delicious.
Yeah. Stone Tangerine Express. Really good beer. We've been drinking it for 5 years now, and it's ever since it came out. You said it came out 2017.
Yeah, so that was what that would
have been. Right when we were heading back towards the Midwest, but we had it out there.
Yeah, like I said, when I had it, it was pretty much fresh on the tap. It was really good. So this is. Yeah, I feel like this really rose in popularity, and they really started pushing it out a lot more because it took them a little bit. It was a while before solid. But anyways,
They've
yeah.
sold a lot of it, that's for sure.
Okay.
Voodoo,
Get
yeah.
the Voodoo next. All right.
New Belgium, Voodoo Ranger. As we mentioned, most people know New Belgium for Fat Tire or 1553.
Yeah, they're the Tripel.
Yeah, the Tripel.
I forgot about that one.
Tripel, whatever you call it.
Yeah. No, that's a great beer. Yeah, I mean, New Belgium's, again, it's great.
Yeah.
I've heard it's a really cool brewery, too. I guess, was that a New Belgium in Asheville? Remember, it was like a
Yeah, they've got a production facility in Asheville now. Their original one, they're originally out of Fort Collins, I believe.
Yeah, they're out of Fort Collins, yes.
But they've obviously been making great beer for, a long time again, at least 15, 20 years.
The owners got the idea on a trip to Belgium in 1988. So,
there you go.
34 years ago.
Before I was born.
Yeah, so this beer is unfiltered too, which will give you even more.
Yeah.
So now this is hazy.
This is a little more hazy, yeah.
This is definitely much more hazy than the tangerine. So that's another thing too. I don't know if the tangerine's actually unfiltered or not, but this is, and you can tell. It's got like even. Sometimes with these ones you want to kind of give it a little spin because there will be like byproduct, but yeah, that's a pretty beer.
Yeah, it is. It's
Juicy haze.
It's kind of a, I don't know. It's definitely like a golden or light golden straw color. The style guidelines call for straw to light amber. It's supposed to be low to medium malt aroma. Hazies are not supposed to be super bitter. They're supposed to be a little bit more sweet, a little more juicy. You want more of that fruit, even though they do still have higher IBUs, higher hop content. The perceived bitterness is supposed to be a little bit lower, and so.
Well, and this one's 7.5% alcohol, so definitely a little heavier. I like the head on this one more than the Tangerine Express. It's got a really nice, solid. I mean, just pretty. It's a pretty beer.
Creamy.
It's really pretty.
Hanging around.
This one's a little bit. I'm sorry. This is less IBUs than the Tangerine Express. So, again, IBUs is kind of a hot debate in my opinion. A lot of people don't say IBUs are super relevant anymore. I kind of agree with that, but it depends on who you ask.
It's more about perceived bitterness.
Yeah.
It's because you can balance things out different ways with the malt or the yeast. So.
And this one, so whereas the tangerine was obviously more heavy on the orange and pineapples, this is really heavy on like the guava, like more of the tropical fruit.
I was gonna say like a white grape, like almost like a white, like a Pinot Grigio, like a white Pinot Grigio or Zinfandel. Like there's definitely there's a little bit of a light white wine nose, which is also fruit, guava.
Oh boy.
A little bit of papaya.
That's real different. That's actually very different from the Tangerine Express. Not in a good way or bad way, but it's just a very different profile. Like this, I get a lot of this like guava, grapefruit, passion fruit. It's definitely more on the tropical side.
And it's sweeter, right?
It's definitely sweeter.
It's got more body.
It doesn't have that.
I mean, you just look at it.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have that same rindy. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, the pithy.
It's got a different mouthfeel too.
Orange peel. It's much more. This is much more in the actual hazy style.
Yeah, I think the tangerine, like it's kind of like.
Oh, this is good.
Again, we'll talk about it more later. How our beer kind of fell in between, like a West Coast and a haze.
Yeah.
I feel like the tangerine's kind of the same. But yeah, this is really
delicious.
good.
I forgot how good this beer was.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
So you can hate on New Belgium all you want, but they make good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just good.
This is like, and I guess in my mind it's like this is the generic hazy IPA.
Yeah, I mean if you want something that is like
good, it's just good, man.
Yeah, the default profile. Yeah. Like if you just want to know, this is honestly perfect.
I mean, it nails kind of everything right in the middle of the ballpark for what the style guidelines should be: ABV, IBU, aroma, malt. color. It's just like
Yeah.
this is kind of. I mean, it's definitely one of the best-selling hazies in the country.
It's super good.
For a reason. It's really good, and you would not know that this is 7.5.
I really forgot how good this is.
This is really good.
I'm enjoying this one.
We both are.
Mm-hmm. And
right.
again, to me, I don't really find this to be very hoppy or bitter.
No,
I just mostly am getting a lot of those fruit.
That's what I'm saying. There's more of that fruit and malt sweetness. Not a lot, but just enough that like the bitterness is there, but it just
It's
the
on the
bitterness
back
just
note.
kind of like cleanses your palate,
Yeah.
and then it's more sweet up front.
Yeah.
But
No, definitely.
that's a heck of a beer.
It's very good. And I can tell my lips are a little sticky from it.
Do you want to do ours now, or do you want to do the?
No, let's do these.
Okay.
Oh, I guess we don't have enough glasses.
Oh. Do we need? Are we going to be short one? Well, I can always chug one.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do the beer brewery.
Beer, yeah. They make some cool
Again,
cans.
I'm kind of getting. I have quite the fondness for them from us
Yeah.
going there. It's a really cool place. We a couple of weeks ago posted a photo on the Instagram about the trivia night we went there, and it was like sometimes you go to the brewery trivia nights and they're really intense, and you have a lot of people that like are obviously trying really hard to be like trivia pros in the area, but it was everyone there was like pretty low key, and the person that hosted the trivia she asked really good questions. A bunch of them were. It was a Midwest themed trivia, so some of the first and last question of the round was about the Midwest, and then the middle questions were just random ones. But yeah, it was super fun. The brewery's right next to our beer supply store, Great Fermentation, that we've been going to as well, and I see that they do a lot of stuff together on Instagram too. So I think beer's got pretty good reputation in the community. So yeah, I really enjoy going there. It's a fun place.
Yeah, and they've been around for over 10 years too, and they've won over 100 awards. They make a lot of German style beers. They make a good Hefeweizen, a good Pilsner. So they make some good beers. If you're in the Indy area, definitely check out Beer Brewery.
Yeah, and they have two locations. The one that's by us, is it on 82nd?
65th.
65th. And then there's a Carmel tap room as well. So if you are in Carmel, Indiana, they have a tap room there. Yeah, so, I mean, again, pretty hazy. I actually have not, I don't think I've tried the South Simcoe yet.
Yeah, I don't know if we've had this.
They just came out with another hazy that we missed out. They just came out with it. It's like,
Hoosier Hazy.
yeah, it was like a Hoosier Hazy was
Hoosier
the name.
Hazy.
So, we'll have to try that one too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, yeah, this one's, I feel like this one's in between the Tangerine and the New Belgium. It's still pretty hazy.
So they say on the can, an upfront flavor from Simcoe, which is one of our favorite hops.
Yes.
Simcoe and Denali hops with a juicy finish. The hops release an aroma and flavor of fresh mango and pineapple. It's smooth, hazy, and totally chill, man.
And this one's 5%, so it's the lowest ABV.
5% and 40
the lowest
IBUs.
IBU, yeah.
So about the same as the last one, but
These three are pretty much in the general same space.
yeah.
So
And ours is too, for the most part. So
yeah, it's probably something we should have done more is like research the different hops a little bit more to see how the different hops used in the different beers maybe change the flavor a bit. But
a little bit of that dankness.
yeah,
From the
this
Simcoe.
this one's definitely more like danky.
Not as tropical. I mean, there's some like guava there, but
Yeah,
okay.
fresh mango and pineapple. I definitely get the mango.
This one's got a little more malt character
This
to
definitely
it.
this one, yeah, kind of almost is a little bit more West Coast.
It's almost
in
like a
the
pale
flavor,
ale.
but that could be the Simcoe. I mean,
Yeah.
again, that's kind of a next thing for us is to like actually learn more about individual hops. But that's really good. That's just, again, all three of just very different, like, different flavor profiles,
Yeah.
but within the same style, which is what's kind of cool about the Hazy IPAs. Like, you can interpret so many different ways, and you can really get a lot of different beers that technically fit the guidelines that are all delicious.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But
like,
then with
that's
that,
a
there's
good
also
that's a
bad.
good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I'm on the positive side of it. There's a lot of bad side.
Don't let her fool you. She talks a lot of crap about breweries, usually right when we're walking out the door. But
What are you talking about?
no, it's no. I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating because there's a lot of breweries that make a lot of money selling beer that actually has no business being called what they call it, and so we constantly have frustrations about that.
Well, I think Hazy IPA or Pale Ale, although they are technically different things, they can kind of fall under a category a little bit easier than, like, if I say I made a Pilsner, but it tastes like a pale ale, there's a lot more margin for error in that. I mean, so, like, I feel like the IPA is kind of it can be like a safe thing for a brewery to make, because you can kind of have some variations and it would still be technically good.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is did I enjoy it?
Yeah.
But breweries are definitely stretching the boundaries when it comes to labeling beers as hazy IPA. Well, they're labeling them as hazy IPAs because they know that that's what people want right now, and they will go to the store and spend their money on a hazy.
Well, and you see that with other styles too. Everyone labels their beer Pilsner, but
right. Right. So, anyways,
that's
another discussion. But at the end of the day, all of these beers have been awesome. This is good. It's drier. It's cleaner.
It's definitely more dry than the other ones.
More of a West Coast pale ale.
It's good.
It's good. It's just
not as tropical as the other two. No, it's an awesome beer.
I guess I'll take this one.
Okay. All right, now for the main show. We're going to get our hazy poured. The beer, our hazy, well, we're trying to do a New England IPA, which typically the New Englands are kind of that thick, juicy haze. I think we had a similar trouble that we've had on previous, like we cannot control the temperature enough, so that's something we definitely need to work on. Our fermentation just hasn't quite been on point, so I think the nose and the flavor of ours ended up really good. It's just, again, the body is just a little light, but again, it is super hazy. I mean, look at that guy.
It's a good looking beer, I'll tell you what.
I mean, it's actually...
It might be one of the best looking beers of the night.
It's actually the haziest and most opaque of any of our beers.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't need the blind pig on there.
So, it's a good looking beer. The color turned out well. The nose turned out well.
Yeah. Again, you can... Well, I can see... You guys probably can't on camera. The carbonation, like, the head's definitely not as, like... thick and foamy as the other ones, so the attenuation maybe is just not quite what we wanted it to be. But no, I think the color turned out good. Yeah,
we've been battling temperatures all winter because a lot of these beers they really prefer like that 68 to 72 range, and I don't know, maybe we should have just turned the furnace up, turn the thermostat up. But
yeah, well, we need to probably, that's going to be something over the summer as we get kind of more of a temperature control situation. So I would say for ours, we used Mosaic, Citra, and El Dorado hops, which I don't think I've seen in any of the descriptions of these.
Stone had Citra, some Citra in it.
Right.
But
the Mosaic and the El Dorado.
Yeah.
Not as much. I've always loved Mosaic hops. I feel like Mosaic is like one of those like OG hops that a lot of companies used back in the day, but I love Mosaic.
I mean, it's got a great nose.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a dank fruitiness.
Well, and then the yeast,
Yeah.
We had never used Omega yeast before. We always end up using Y yeast or I'm blanking on the other yeast company, but no, this is the first time using Omega, and so this is a British ale yeast. We were going to try a few other ones, but our beer store didn't have it. So
White Labs.
White Labs, yeah. Which
Yeah,
again,
we used a lot of again, kind of going back to the roots. A lot of breweries use traditionally English ale yeast for their IPAs. So we did use a British Ale 8, I believe it was.
yes, an 8. Yep.
So it's a medium attenuating, so the beer should still have some residual sweetness, but not be too malty. And then it should help accentuate some of the hop character in the beer, which it definitely does.
Definitely does.
I mean, there's like a lot of like, I said papaya and like a ripe, like maybe an overripe mango, and you said some guava. Like it's kind of all in the same family at that point, but the nose is awesome.
It's just, again, a very different profile flavor-wise than the other two. It definitely would lend this more to, like, yeah, like a
That's
West
good,
Coast
man.
style. I mean, it's got kind of an old school.
It's good.
It's got kind of an old school taste. One thing I forgot, too, I think maybe our efficiency was a tad off because the malts, everything wasn't milled quite as finely. We weren't sure if really it was. I'm blanking on my words right now. Well, our milling wasn't maybe quite as good as it could have been on our grain build.
Yeah.
So that sometimes can lead to a lack of efficiency when you're brewing.
Yeah.
So that's something definitely we need to kind of look at a little bit more too. We just brewed a couple days ago, and I don't think we had quite the same issues.
So we haven't really been doing sparging, batch sparges on our beers. So basically, we've just been doing all of our beers are a single infusion, but haven't been doing a lot of sparging, which is basically as you're mashing, you're bringing in more strike water or more water to rinse extra sugars off of the malt grains as you incorporate it into the mash tun. Yeah. So you're supposed to get a higher efficiency if you bring in more water. You're rinsing. Obviously, you're trying to extract all of that sugar from the malt, and so we've just kind of started dabbling with that. And we did it on the last brew, the Hefeweizen that we'll be talking about. So we're just kind of working through some kinks here and there. And
we gotta figure it out.
We're dialing in our process.
And also, that being said, this is the very first time we've ever brewed an IPA. Yeah. So I mean, we're never battling with any kind of off flavors or any kind of weird bacteria or anything like that. It's always just maybe a little off. So
it's either
dial in a little
our
more.
fermentation is a little too cold or our efficiency is a little bit off. So, all things that we can fix with a hearty spirit and a jolly good,
a can-do attitude.
Yeah. So we're not far off. Our QC, our process, our sanitization, all that stuff is pretty good. Honestly, we kind of know where we're at with that. So.
Well, and that's to me, I feel like kind of an important thing. Like when you're starting off, sanitation's kind of important because I've been to some breweries where you can tell it's not important, and their beer is very gross.
That's very true.
It's bad.
Amazing facilities with amazingly bad QC.
Everything that we brewed, if I sat down at a brewery and I ordered it, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be amazed, but I would be okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Right.
So I think we're getting the styles down, and we're getting the sanitation and that stuff down. We just need to dial in a little more, and we'll get there.
We're just dialing everything in. Yep. We're going from what do they call it? Rotary. Next step is a car phone. And then
that's how we're going.
Next step is
we just got to get to an iPhone.
We got to get to the iPhone. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we're going.
Which model?
I mean, I'd be happy with a 6.
Okay.
I feel like after like 2014, 15, like the improvements were really incremental and not distinguishable to most consumers.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah. So no, I think we were both kind of like all right, we accomplished our major goals, but we didn't hit all the marks on it.
Yeah.
Which is what we've said about a lot of our beers.
Yeah, I think definitely of the four,
Yeah.
this is definitely the most malty too. To me.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know.
It's
I
also-
don't know if I agree with that.
I,
I thought the last one was pretty malty because it was more of a pale ale.
this seems more malty to me, but maybe because it's more bitter. I don't know.
I think it's fairly. I think
It
the
might be-
flavor
this
is
also
pretty
the-
well
this
rounded
is also
on it,
the
actually.
coldest too.
Yeah,
Need to let this warm up even more.
and it would probably get better as it warmed up.
Yeah.
but-
So.
Anyways, we are out of liquid to share with you.
Yeah. Hopefully you learned something new.
Yeah,
Interested in the material.
I know it's kind of crazy that the first IPA we did was a hazy IPA because it's,
Yeah.
although it's the most popular, it's kind of like the latest introduction of the style. But
Yeah, I guess you could have just. We did brew a pale ale, so.
we did do a pale ale. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So
And that was a
and
good
our
beer.
very
That was our
first-
very first beer.
on the Brewzilla system.
Yeah. Go check our page out.
We
We did
copied these here in Nevada.
right. We used that Chico strain,
Yeah, we did.
the Chico White Labs Chico California Ale, WLP 001, I want to say, but
And I thought that was a really good. That,
that
turned out
actually
really
was
good.
a really good beer.
Yeah. This was supposed to be a Juicy Bits clone, which I've
Juicy
never.
Bits, yeah.
I've never had the Juicy Bits.
Have not had Juicy Bits. I'm blanking on the brewery
I am
that
too.
made it, but courtesy of Brewfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. I mean, we gotta get better.
Yeah. But we're in the ballpark.
But
I think.
we're in the ballpark. Yeah, we're in the league. We just got to work on our curveball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we just brewed the Hefeweizen the other day. So she's sitting in the fermenter right now, and
Yeah.
we'll probably keg her up in a week or so.
yeah, probably less. Probably like Wednesday we'll keg it.
We used a little bit different yeast this time.
Yeah.
We used the Bavarian wheat 3638, which should be interesting. A little bit different than the
Weinstefaner.
Weinstock. I can never say that.
Yeah, a little bit different yeast on that one. We're
Yeah.
pretty excited about it. This is our first repeat brew, so we're trying to start dialing in some recipes because we are planning to submit some beers to the National Homebrew Association
Yeah.
competition here come May.
Yes.
And yeah,
If anything, like for some really good feedback, I
Right.
think the Hefeweizen. I think obviously we've both drank a lot of Hefeweizen, so we know what to look for. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, although it is, I mean, I guess it's probably a little more difficult, or I guess more. Not as many people brew a Hef, or they do thinking that they're brewing a Hef, and
Yeah.
it's not actually a Hef. So, I think we like know the style so well just
Right.
from drinking a lot of it, and obviously Riggs brewery you worked at
Right.
has a phenomenal Hefeweizen, so I think that's something we could dial in. We just brewed the batch we just brewed the other day was the second time,
right.
so we'll probably try to get at least. I mean, I would like probably 2 more times of
Yeah.
brewing a Hef
Yeah.
in the next couple months.
Right.
At least one more time will happen, so we'll definitely hopefully be able to figure some stuff out. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Excited.
excited.
Hopefully.
We're gonna finally submit some beers to some home competitions, do some homebrew competitions,
Yes.
get some feedback. That's what we're looking for.
Yep.
And but we know I mean the nice thing is we've drank enough beer of every style that we are pretty good at self-evaluation.
Yeah,
But
I think
it'll
so.
it's going to be fun to really send off some beer to a national competition. And I mean, I'm pretty confident that we're actually probably going to win the entire category. So, I mean,
Yeah.
We're probably just gonna, I don't know, we're just gonna sign off after that win. But
Yep.
yeah, we are. We're glad.
A lot of our family members are huge Hefeweizen
Yeah,
fans, so
yeah.
we'll share the
A
wealth.
lot of people are starting to find the Hef here in the last
Yeah.
couple years. It's nice.
I mean, it's a great beer.
It's a great beer.
It's a crusher.
Yeah.
It's
clean. It's easy.
clean,
It's
banana,
got
clove,
consistent flavors.
delicious.
Yeah, it's just a consistent beer style that
Yeah.
people should expect.
definitely.
But yeah, we will. We'll catch up with you guys here probably next week. We are going to be obviously we already brewed a Hef for the beer competition. We're already going to be looking at the next style for our next tasting video. We've got a couple ideas in mind. Let us know if you guys have any suggestions.
Yeah.
We haven't dialed anything in. We're thinking about like a strong spring beer or.
I mean, we've never done a Belgium, so that could be.
We've never
fun
done
one
a
to
Belgian. So yeah, we've got a few ideas. We want to do a sour. There's a few tricks of the trade, you know, with the sour. So
we got to get another fermentation vessel.
Yep.
So that we can make sure the bacteria stays away from all of our other beer.
Yeah, exactly. So we've upgraded. We've gotten a few additional kegs. So we have some extra storage now, so we can actually brew multiple beers at the same time. We need a couple more fermenters, but we're working our way there, and we're having fun. Glad you guys are along for the ride, and
Yep, and in a month and a half, you'll probably see us in a new location.
Yep. we can talk about that. We can talk about that.
Yep.
Probably on our next video, but.
Yeah.
We'll be brewing here within the next 2 weeks for sure.
Yeah.
If not sooner, maybe 10 days. And so we will...
Side note, did anyone actually grab either one of these beers and taste it with us? Just curious.
Hopefully you guys were able to find one of these. At least these two should be pretty easy to find.
Yeah, this is pretty much just the Indianapolis market, but
yeah,
those two are pretty mainstream. But
yep. As they say in New Orleans, laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. So that's what we're going to keep doing. And
got a lot of beer to finish.
We were just watching a live video down at the French Quarter. We've been down there once for Mardi Gras. We miss it, but this is the next best thing. So, anyways, we will see you guys probably here in about a week or a week and a half. And until then, keep drinking.
Yeah.
And,
have a good night.
Enjoy.
Good
Enjoy
time.
your weekend.
Cheers.
And cheers. Yeah. Santé.